So, if you're the kind of person who absolutely loves tearing things apart to see exactly how they tick under the hood, you are in the perfect place. You know when you're watching one of those super slick, incredibly engaging finance explainers on YouTube, and you just think, wow, this is perfectly crafted? Well, what if I told you it wasn't crafted by a human at all, but by a machine following a insanely strict recipe? Okay, let's dive into this. Today, we're doing a total teardown of a master AI prompt. And I mean, this isn't just your standard write me a story prompt. This is a highly optimized, hardcore set of instructions designed specifically to spit out a viral finance script from scratch. We're going to look at the exact commands a human feeds an AI to magically turn it into a pro scriptwriter, a storytelling genius, and a finance guru, all rolled into one. Here is the exact recipe we'll be deconstructing today. First, the viral finance blueprint. Second, structuring the core habits. Third, engineering the curiosity gap. Fourth, production and audio cues. And finally, the perfect YouTube outro. All right, starting off with section 1, the viral finance blueprint. Right out of the gate, the AI is literally told to act like a top-tier finance creator. And it's heavily instructed to prioritize 100% original, copyright-free material so it ranks perfectly in search. But now, what's really interesting about this slide is this exact number right here, 1200. The prompter absolutely does not leave the script length up to chance. No way. It gives the AI strict, hard boundaries, demanding a script that hits exactly between 1200 and 1500 words. And you might be wondering, why does that matter so much? Well, pacing and duration are literally everything for the algorithm. The prompt actually specifies that this exact word count will result in a 7 to 8 minute runtime. Basically, it's the absolute sweet spot for viewer retention. So the AI is given these mathematical boundaries to make sure the final product isn't too short to be useful, but not so long that you get bored and click away. But it's not just about word count. The AI is handed this incredibly rigid macro structure it has to follow. I mean, look at how perfectly sequenced this is to keep you hooked. Step 1, an immediate, punchy 20 to 30 second hook to grab your attention before your brain even thinks about clicking away. Step 2, a super short intro that justifies the whole thing by explaining exactly why financial education matters. Then step 3 is the meat of the content, the 7 habits, which we'll break down in just a sec. And finally, step 4, a motivational conclusion to wrap it all up with a bow. It is, quite literally, a paint-by-numbers structure for algorithmic success. Moving on to section 2, structuring the core habits. The AI gets its specific topic, the 7 smart money habits that will make you rich faster. But how does it keep that from getting incredibly boring? Well, so the crucial point here is how the prompt basically handcuffs the AI for every single one of those 7 habits. It mandates this exact 4-part formula. Check this out. First, it has to give a simple explanation of the habit. Second, it has to provide a real-life example to, ground the concept in reality. Third, a practical tip you can actually use today. And fourth, a smooth transition to the next point. Imagine an AI looping through this highly engineered, insanely engaging formula 7 times in a row. It pretty much guarantees you're constantly getting value, you understand the context, and you just seamlessly slide right into the next habit without even noticing. Which brings us to section 3, engineering the curiosity gap. Let's look at the exact psychological triggers this prompt uses to glue eyeballs to the screen. To physically stop you from leaving, the prompt feeds the AI these very specific curiosity hooks to just sprinkle throughout the script. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what I'm talking about. But here's what most people don't know. This is classic textbook curiosity gap engineering, right? It makes you feel like you are about to be let in on some massive secret. And if you click away, well, you're going to miss out on this hidden knowledge that everyone else is clueless about. It's just a simple sentence, but man, it is insanely effective at resetting your attention span. Then there's the second required hook. And notice how it totally ramps up the emotional stakes. The next habit is the one that changed millions of lives. The prompt is literally demanding the AI to build massive anticipation here. It's promising this immense, life-altering value right around the corner. So, naturally, when you hear that, the perceived value of just sticking around for 1 more minute completely skyrockets. And then we get to this final mandated hook, which kind of flips the psychology on its head. Don't skip this next point because it could save you thousands of dollars. This plays right into the extremely powerful psychological concept of loss aversion. It practically forces you to keep watching, not just so you can gain something, but so you don't lose something massive. By forcing the AI to embed these exact phrases, the prompt ensures the script is basically fighting viewer drop-off tooth and nail at every single turn. Okay, let's pivot to section 4, production and audio cues. See, the person who designed this prompt doesn't just want a scriptwriter. They want a full-blown director. The AI is explicitly told to map out specific cues for all the visual elements. It has to tell the editor exactly where to drop in B-roll footage, stock videos, and animations. It has to flag exactly when to pull up charts to show off the finance data, and literally spell out what on-screen text should pop up to highlight key points. So the AI isn't just writing words to be spoken, it's generating a fully annotated blueprint for the entire visual experience. And to make sure all those slick visuals match the audio perfectly, the prompt lays down some very strict ground rules for the tone. It sets up this stark contrast. The AI absolutely must write in a highly engaging, simple, conversational style geared toward beginners. The big forbidden rule? Complicated financial jargon. No way. But the prompter is smart. They note that if some complex term absolutely has to be used, it must be clearly and instantly explained. This guarantees the whole thing stays incredibly accessible. Because let's be real, feeling overwhelmed or confused is the #1 reason people completely abandon finance content. Let's move to and see how this builds to honestly one of the wildest, most revealing instructions in the entire prompt. Include natural pauses for AI voiceover. Yeah, you heard that right. This single line completely exposes the fully automated nature of this whole setup. The human creator behind this, they are never planning to sit in front of a microphone and read the script. Never. They're just going to take this AI-generated text and feed it straight into another AI, a voice generator. The scriptwriter AI is literally being told to anticipate the speech patterns of the voiceover AI, adding in strategic pauses so the final robotic read sounds flawlessly human and natural. It is literally machines writing for machines. Mind-blowing, right? All right, home stretch, section 5, the perfect YouTube outro. So you've hooked the viewer, you've kept them completely engaged through 7 tightly structured habits, and you've mapped out all the visual cues. Now, to wrap it all up and tell the algorithm you did a good job, the AI gets a really strict closing checklist. First, it has to fire off a super concise summary of all 7 habits, just to lock in that value for the viewer. Next, it transitions into this highly motivational conclusion so you leave feeling totally inspired and ready to conquer the world. And finally, and this is arguably the most critical piece for platform growth, it must hit a strong, direct call to action, explicitly telling you to like, comment, share, and subscribe. The entire formula is executed with absolute precision right down to the final second. Which leaves us with this final, kind of wild thought. We have just seen how one single, meticulously crafted paragraph of instructions can totally dictate the pacing, the psychological retention, the visual direction, and the conversational tone of an entire piece of content. And it completely bypasses the need for a human writer or even a human speaking to a camera. The mechanical precision of modern content creation is it's astounding. So I really have to ask you, the next time you're captivated by a perfectly structured finance explainer, is your favorite creator actually an AI? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer today. And hey, I highly encourage you to look just a little bit closer at the content you're consuming. You might be surprised.